Thank you so much. Casey Newton now. He is the editor of Platformer and a CNBC contributor. Casey, it's good to see you. So you heard Zuckerberg's proposal. It sounds like it's DOA.
Well, time will tell. I think what's really notable here is Zuckerberg wants Facebook to be regulated, but only on its own terms and preferably in a way that might make life a little bit harder for his competitors. Frankly, there's nothing in what he has proposed that would radically change what you see on Facebook day to day. I think Congress is going to push for bigger changes. He
essentially wants Facebook to be able to police itself. That's been one of the arguments from the outset, that they've already proven that they can't.
That's right. The challenge for lawmakers, though, is that the First Amendment and Section 230 largely protect companies' rights to police themselves. So if Congress wants to figure out a way to chip away at that, it's going to have to be really careful, and it's not clear what they can do that will survive legal challenges.
It's also interesting that he said basically today, with billions of posts per day on Facebook, it's virtually impossible to police everything. Do you buy that?
Well, there's something sort of rich about saying, look, sorry, we built a platform that's simply too big for us to understand, right? These people worked very hard to create the biggest companies in the world. And so I think they do owe us more than what we have gotten so far.
Why shouldn't social media companies be legally liable for everything on their sites?
Well, the problem is that when you do that, you tend to dramatically limit our ability to speak online. And because we do so much of our communication digitally these days, it risks sort of pushing a lot of speech, political speech, underground. And you have half of Congress, the Republican side, that feels like these companies are already doing too much to remove speech. So Democrats and Republicans are very far apart on what is admittedly a very difficult issue.
Yeah, we spend a lot of time, for obvious reasons, talking about Facebook and Mark Zuckerberg. How hot is Jack Dorsey's seat going to be tomorrow? He, of course, the CEO of Twitter.
Well, I think it's fair to say he may be the most chill of the three CEOs that are going to be appearing tomorrow. I would be surprised if he raised his voice even a little bit, no matter how heated the questioning gets. I think what's really notable about his testimony, though, is that it's kind of a muddle. He says Twitter is working on a number of sort of very high concept projects like decentralizing the network or letting users do a lot of the policing of content for them. I'm really not sure that Congress is going to find any of these suggestions all that satisfying.
You think he's going to face a good amount of fire from Republicans over banning President Trump and other outlets?
Yes, I do. I'm extremely interested to see how the Republicans treat Dorsey and the other CEOs tomorrow, in part because at least 7 Republicans in Congress tweeted the Stop the Steal hashtag themselves, spreading misinformation about what happened during the election. So there's going to be some really strange exchanges I think we can expect with Dorsey in particular.
And meantime, Sundar Pichai of Google just sits there off to the side and says, all right, take care of these guys. I'm just going to sit back and chill. What should we expect in terms of him?
Well, interestingly, he's the one who's actually standing up for Section 230. He's pointing out that the internet is actually bigger than the 3 companies that will be speaking tomorrow. And he's urging lawmakers to take real caution as they attempt to chip away at what a lot of people, myself included, do believe is the foundation of the modern internet. And then I think Pichai serves a second function, which is sort of as a human shield to prevent the CEO of YouTube from having to testify when most of lawmakers' questions about Google, frankly, are about that platform.
You know, lastly, President Biden has made some announcement and appointments to the FTC of people who have antitrust backgrounds. How concerned should these companies be about being broken up?
I think they should be very concerned. I think that after a long slumber, the antitrust movement in this country is as active as it has been in more than a generation. So Lena Khan, Tim Wu, these are people who have really smart ideas about competition in the modern economy. And I think it's going to be one of these stories to watch here in 2021.
All right. Shepard Smith here. Thanks for watching CNBC on YouTube.